What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video I am going to be talking about some brands that use a hook to really push their brand to the edge. I don't really know how I'm going to title this, so we're just gonna, that's my general synopsis of what it's going to possibly be titled. If you are interested in this eye look, I did create it and record it for you guys. It definitely should be up before this video, and I will link it up in the cards. And yeah, let's just get into it. So after my last anti-haul, I was talking about basically how Kylie Cosmetics, the majority of her brand has been collabs. She has just been really riding that wave of her famous relatives, etc, etc. And I was just thinking about how that's her hook. That is the thing that's really made her brand significant, in my opinion. Without all those collabs, I don't think people would necessarily be purchasing as much, especially the Kim one. I don't know all her sisters. I'm not really into knowing about celebrities, but anyways, using all of her sisters except for I think two, maybe just one, she's really helped to push her sales on her website and her brand and generally and as a whole. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, honestly. I'm just putting it out there to make not only myself aware but you guys aware. Like, this is the reason that, in my opinion, these brands are significant at all. So yeah, as for Kylie Cosmetics, it's mainly just her collabs with her family members. I think that after she stops doing those, or honestly runs out of those, I don't think her brand is going to be as significant. I don't think it's going to be as talked about. And even if you think about it, going back to some of her first releases where they weren't necessarily, or any of her releases that haven't had anything to do with a family member or had a collab attached to it, do people really talk about them? And even the ones that people were family members were collabing in, do people talk about those? Like, after the hype dies down, she goes into a little lull. So I think that is Kylie's hook, is just collabing with her family members. Next, I want to talk about Storybook Cosmetics. Now, this is a brand that honestly, in my opinion, just automatically automatically popped into my head when I was thinking about brands that have a hook. And Storybook Cosmetics' hook is the fact that they use childhood dreams, movies, characters, and makeup. So they create novelty makeup in a sense. And that has worked for them. In all honesty, a lot of people, I think their Star Wars collab, not Star Wars, their Mean Girls collab went well. What other collabs do they have? Let me just go into Ulta. Their Mean Girls collab went well. I hear a lot of people talking about their Van Gogh collab. Their Harry Potter themed collab went well. So all of these themed things are doing well, and that's basically their whole brand. Their brand doesn't talk about anything else except for bringing these novelty items, characters, things into the makeup world. And I feel some type of way about it, because I feel like they're profiting on somebody else's idea, and you know, to each his own. But that's their hook. That's all they have. So once they run out of ideas on characters, themes, etc, etc, I don't think their brand is going to be around after that. There's nothing else for their brand to really bring to the table. Now, I will say that their Starry Nights collab with Vincent van Gogh, well, not really collab with him, but with his art, that has caught my eye. That thing has blues, greens, and yellows. Yeah, bitches, y'all did that on purpose. You did it on purpose. But I see you. I do. I see you. So the next brand that I want to say, talk about that has their own hook, I would say is Melt Cosmetics. Now, their hook is completely different than the other two. They're the edgy brand, you know. They do what no other brand would dare to do. They did the cannabis mascara. They do the melt stacks. Like, they go to an extreme, but in such an edgy, cool, rocker chic type way. But I think they use their hook in a very positive way. It helps to bring new ideas to the table, but it also allows other people who may associate with what they identify with, their brand identifies with, more closely, and so it allows them to have a brand that they really feel a connection to. So, and in that same vein, I would say Kat Von D as well. Kat Von D has like a gothic chic, creepy, in the best possible way, hook to her. So all of her stuff is really dark, edgy. She does her own artwork, all of that stuff. It always, not always, but a majority of her palettes are very colorful. She doesn't have very many neutral palettes, so they have a similar hook to them. I don't know what's going on with my hands, but we're just gonna move on past that. So that is how I feel about Melt and Kat Von D. Next, I want to talk about Too Faced. Too Faced has, in my opinion, a twofold type of hook. They have the hook where they have the very cutesy, kid-like makeup, where, you know, they get the really teenagers who are just now getting into makeup with that Clover palette, with their peach line, both the original peach line and the Just Peachy line. All of those little cutesy type stuff, the little heart blushes, the heart highlighters, all that stuff, I think really helps to pull in their teen line, and that's the hook for their teens. And then they also have a more adult hook where they have Better Than Sex mascara, they have the Glow Job mask, all of these X-rated things. And so I think Too Faced is kind of a very unique brand in the sense that they have two hooks so that they can get an even bigger audience than necessarily the other brands that I have talked about in this video. So, you know, I think their methods in using two different hooks, in my opinion, is a little like sketchy, not sketchy, but it leaves a little to be desired. I feel like they should kind of either find a happy medium or stick to the cutesy, stick to the X-rated. I don't like how they go back and forth, but who am I? I'm not on their board. I'm not in their designing room. I'm just here in my room. And then the last brand I want to talk about is Tarte. Now, in my opinion, Tarte has gone through a rough year. Nothing to say about that. And I am one of those people who has stepped back from buying Tarte items. I believe I only have 1 or 2 items of Tarte in my collection, even before the whole debacle. So no fuss, no muss. I've been getting my wear out of them, and I probably won't purchase until I feel comfortable with the brand again. But leaving that aside, I think Tarte's hook is natural glam, natural makeup, nothing more. They have so many eyeshadow palettes and they're all neutral. And I mean, not a fun neutral, not an interesting neutral. I think their most fun line would be their Tartelette line. Other than that, I think their other lines are very boring and just dry, and that's their hook. I think their hook is, you can come to us and get an everyday palette. You can come to us and be work friendly, and you know, to each his own. But I think that every brand should have a variety of palettes, have a variety of foundation formulas, have a variety of concealers, shade range, all of that. So with Tarte limiting themselves, like, you're hurting yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you want to be known for being the place to go for neutral palettes, for palettes that are work friendly, then do that. But at the same time, it won't hurt you to have every now and then a palette that actually has some color, that actually has some variety, actually has some depth, you know. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about some brands that have a particular hook that I think either works for them and doesn't. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of other brands that we could talk about. We could talk about Sugar Pill, we could talk about indie brands, so much more, but I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about a few that really just popped into my head. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and as always, y'all, it's been real. Peace.